those demonstrations that happen after the elections, people are walking to your office at IEBC, and they say they want to see the chair. Or you're preparing for 2027 elections. And you have a stakeholder meeting. We are convening in a room like this, and there are players, active players in the elections, and they are demanding. Do you have that stamina to address those presidential candidates that have walked into IEBC headquarters, that are confronting you and demanding that you do certain things in a particular way? What can you say of that?
Now, I want to make a follow-up question on the same. Kenyans are watching, and Kenyans are wondering why, for instance, the roles of the IEBC commissioners, when they are not there, the gazettement, the issue of gazettement, so that voter registration can go on. What is your take? Because it's actually the Secretariat which should be able to do that. Because why? Is it a problem in the regulations or in the law? Because the law says voter registration should be a continuous process. So Kenyans are wondering, why should IEBC staff all over the country be earning even salaries in the first place? What do you think you'll be able to do as a chairman to ensure that this process of voter registration is continuous? Because like now, if the commissioners are not there, they're not doing anything much, why should they not be doing voter registration in the first place?
So for elections to be considered fair, the IEBC is expected to manage the electoral process not only by ensuring neutrality among the candidates, but fairness to the voters, to the extent that the voters get equitable access to voting, and the vote is protected and has a meaningful result till the end. The vote is protected and is meaningfully, it has a meaningful impact till the end. Because if you look at carefully our history, voter apathy and disillusionment comes from the lack of that. So if you are lucky to become the chair of the IEBC, how would you ensure that the voter gets that equal opportunity and the votes are protected till the end and they have a meaningful impact? What are the initiatives that you will champion?
We note that there has been this very elusive two-thirds gender rule principle. And now, given a chance to become the chair of IEBC, what strategies or recommendations would you propose to help us achieve this principle?
But listening to you, the connection comes out. And therefore, that makes me change the question that I wanted to ask. Because the Vice Chair and other members have brought out that connection.
Thank you, sir.
I want to go the Tanui route, FCPA Tanui, to give you the practical aspects of our election, and therefore ask you to tell Kenyans why at 48 you are that man that they have been looking for. FCPA Tanui gave you the example of Samuel Kivitu the late. He was quoted as the results were coming in, saying, I can't reach my returning officers. I hope they're not cooking results out there. Then on the day that he was announcing the results at KICC that you have referred to, he was alone with only one media station, the state state media station with GSU around him. And the swearing in took place at dusk. No normal fanfare, no presidents invited, no ambassadors invited. We had to change the law so that now there's a very clear legal process of swearing in the president. If you are made chairman, what would you do so that we don't make the Supreme Court the releaser of the pressure, and instead IEBC, led by Edun Ethekon, is the one that resolves and brings confidence to Kenya that finally we have a referee that leads an election that is fair, that is transparent, that both winner and loser and Kenyans and observers can say, this was the result.
Thank you, sir, for that question. I think it is very serious what in the last, in some of these elections, like the ones you have cited, that those incidents happened in the Republic of Kenya. It is very sad, it's very unfortunate. As proud Kenyans who take this country as our proud home, because we don't have any other country, for us to degenerate to a level where we reach to those I don't know even how to describe those incidences, but as a country, we, in as much as I, as an individual chair in that hotspot, will have to think on my feet and how to handle the situation. But I would like also to call upon the entire country, the people of this republic, right from this panel, to think, why do we and how did we get to that level? What are these underlying issues as a society that we must look at for us not to be? For most people, you know, CPA Tanwe and the distinguished panel, with your permission, Chair, even applying for this job is pressure itself. I will speak from my heart. There are those who say, congratulations, go for it. You have what it takes. Then there are those who are saying, no. You're going there, you're going to die. They're going to beat you. They're going to do this, all this negativity. And the sum total of it, when I soul search myself, I say, but even if I don't go there, who will do it? Some Kenyan must do this job. Unless we are talking about outsourcing it to somebody in India, somebody in Latin America, or wherever. But if the Constitution says a Kenyan citizen, because that's what's in the law, must do this job, then somebody has to do it. And that's why I'm here precisely, including looking at the voter registration arrangements and okaying it. And if you look at the Elections Act, most decisions originate by way of gazette. Presidential election or vacancy has been declared, the chairman will gazette. Voter registration, chairman will gazette. Voter education. So for me, we need to look at the law as it is and to ask ourselves, does it serve public things this way, or public interest will better be served if we decentralize some of these things, so that then all that is needed is some kind of delegation of responsibility to the Secretariat to run with it. So for me, it's also a vexing question to me. But as a new chair with my commissioners, we will look at this and then make proposals, working with political parties and other stakeholders to see whether there's a case for law reform. For me, I think that's how I would look at it. Issues of, for example, those bribery, undue influence, intimidation come into mind, because you cannot have a free, fair, neutral election when the voters are actually constantly being bombarded with either bribes, intimidation, harassment, and all these sorts of threats to a free and fair and neutral election. So we will put measures in place, working again with actors, political parties, to ensure that we manage these incidences that will put undue pressure to the voters, so that they're able to express their free will, exercise their universal suffrage rights, based on the equality of their vote and the quality of their vote. Because a vote that you cast in your free will is a quality vote. Then there are issues of access during the polling. As an ex-presiding officer, there are certain barriers that can affect citizens' access, and especially those with special needs, to the polling station and to the polling booth, and to be able to cast their vote as of their free. That's why, for example, we have measures such as mechanisms to assist some of the voters who cannot be able to write, to read and write. Those measures are there just to ensure that they are assisted to exercise their constitutional right. From the Kivuitu debacle to Bomas, in between, there have been certain constitutional changes, some legislative changes that have tried to move us from that situation where Chairman Kivuitu declared openly that he doesn't know where his returning officers are. And in the recent elections, as recent as 2013, 2017, and to date, we've witnessed a situation where the returns from the polling stations and the constituency tallying centers actually reach the final tallying center. So there have been certain improvements. For example, because I know most of the time voting might not be the real problem, but where the elephant in the room is in the manner in which we handle our results, the manner in which we tally, tabulate, count, tabulate, tally, and then transmit. So we've seen certain improvements through the use of technology, the RTS, the ERTS, the Electronic Result Transmission System, as we witnessed last time. We've seen improvement in openness, transparency, in the manner in which the results are handled both at the polling station but also at other levels. So for me, the way I look at it as Kenyans, I think there's a big gap, deficit in terms of us as Kenyans trusting our institutions to deliver free, fair, transparent, verifiable elections. So that lack of confidence is in our institutions and our processes is what we need to address. And if you look at even the cost of our elections alone, it's one of the most expensive